The subject of this week's episode is known today as a big Autobot with a bigger heart. But that wasn't always the case. These are the basics on Bulkhead. The first Transformers character to bear the name Bulkhead was introduced in the 2004 series Transformers Energon. Seemingly designed to resemble the Generation 1 character Springer, this elderly Autobot transformed into a helicopter, and though he was a bit of an eccentric old coot, he was nevertheless a tough, seasoned tactician and marksman who relished a good fight. Bulkhead came packaged with an ED 209 style weapons drone, which could be transformed into an afterburn unit that attached to the underside of his helicopter mode, or which connected to him in robot mode as a set of power arms. As seen in the Energon cartoon, Bulkhead led young Autobots Downshift and Cliffjumper on a mission to locate Optimus Prime after the Autobot leader and his forces disappeared through a rift in space. Successfully tracking Optimus and his men down, Bulkhead's unit joined them in their efforts to stop the Decepticons from gathering enough Energon to resurrect the monster planet Unicron. Bulkhead took to each battle with a good-natured glee, always keen to teach the Decepticons a thing or two, and constantly, quite literally, laughing in the face of danger. Now, it's fair to say that Bulkhead wasn't a particularly appropriate name for the Energon character, having basically nothing to do with his personality or design. But it was a different story for the next bot to bear the name. A big, lumbering Autobot bruiser who starred as part of the main cast of 2007's Transformers Animated. Early concepts for animated Bulkhead imagined him as a grizzled, mustachioed old soldier who was Optimus Prime's second in command and oldest friend. Ideas that make it sound like originally he wouldn't have been too far removed from the Energon character. But in the end, those plans were thrown out, with the role of Old Soldier instead going to Ratchet, and a brand new Bulkhead was designed from the ground up. In fact, Bulkhead was the first character that artist Derek J. Wyatt designed for the series. It was precisely because he was a brand new character with no past incarnations to draw on that Wyatt reasoned he could push his design choices as far as he wanted, uninfluenced by nostalgia, and he used Bulkhead to define the style of the show. Animated Bulkhead was a gentle giant who transformed into an armoured personnel carrier. Though outwardly huge, powerful, and a little on the dim side, with the destructive ability to transform his hands into wrecking balls, under the surface he was really a caring, sensitive guy, whose reputation for smashing everything around him was only due to his unfortunate combination of size, strength, and clumsiness. Raised on an Energon farm, Bulkhead dreamed of becoming a space bridge technician and attended Autobot bootcamp to become certified. There he befriended fellow rookie Bumblebee, who helped to cover for Bulkhead's destructive blundering, ensuring that Bulkhead achieved his dream and was assigned to a space bridge repair crew captained by Optimus Prime. When the crew came to Earth, Bulkhead became good friends with human Sari Sumdak, who helped him find new, less destructive ways to express himself by introducing him to art and music. Spotlight episodes for Bulkhead in the series involved him rescuing Sari from the evil Soundwave, having his head cut off and his body stolen by the supervillain The Headmaster, hanging out with a bad crowd when he fell in with the Constructicons, and being captured by the Decepticons and forced to help them complete construction of a space bridge. To everyone's surprise, it turned out that Bulkhead's years of study had actually made him Cybertron's foremost space bridge expert. As one of the show's main characters, multiple figures of Bulkhead were released in the animated toy line, including a Voyager-size class figure with pop-out wrecking ball, and a larger, heavier-armed electronic Leader-class figure that came with a Headmaster unit that could plug into and take over Bulkhead's body, unlocking new lights and sounds. Bulkhead was one of Animated's breakout new characters, so much so that a new incarnation of him was also included in the main cast of the very next series, 2010's Transformers Prime, this time with an off-road truck alternate mode. This series was initially going to feature Ironhide in the role of the Autobot's muscle, but after plans were put in place to kill off the live-action movie version of Ironhide in 2011's Dark of the Moon, it was decided to replace the character for Prime as well, with Bulkhead taking his place. Though he was still a big friendly guy, unlike his klutzy animated counterpart, smashing and bashing really was what this Bulkhead was all about. Before becoming a part of Optimus Prime's unit, he was a member of the down-and-dirty, hard-hitting Autobot commando unit, the Wreckers. On Earth, Bulkhead became friends and partners with the rambunctious Miko Nakadai, whose love of action and excitement was sometimes more than even Bulkhead could handle, and brought the big Autobot his fair share of trouble. Bulkhead's adventures in the series included teaming up with his old wrecker buddy Wheeljack, and clashing with his Decepticon rival Breakdown. But Bulkhead's story almost came to an end when exposure to toxic Energon and injuries inflicted by the Insecticon Hardshell left him on the brink of death. He survived thanks to Ratchet, and went on to form a new Wreckers team with Miko, Wheeljack, and Ultra Magnus. Though at times he did have to play peacemaker between the officious Magnus and the rebellious Wheeljack. Prime Bulkhead would later return for a few episodes of sequel series Robots in Disguise in 2017, teaming up with fellow big green brawler Grimlock to take down Energon vampire Wingcode, then helping Optimus Prime thwart a Decepticon invasion of Earth. As with the animated character, numerous toys of Bulkhead were released in the Prime toy line, and as the character's popularity continued to grow, Bulkhead toys were also released in several other Transformers series in the first half of the 2010s. Perhaps most notably, the character was even incorporated into the world of IDW Publishing's comic books, appearing as the leader of Cybertron's engineering guild in the days before the war, and later, in homage to the Prime version of the character, among a group of rookie recruits chosen to become new members of the Wreckers. So that's the story of how Bulkhead went from a randomly applied name that barely fitted its bearer, to one that's become permanently associated with a completely different character archetype. In a franchise with a long history of reusing names for multiple, very different characters, Bulkhead is a great example of how the first bot to hold a name isn't always destined to be the most famous. And those are the basics on Bulkhead. Give the big guy some love down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Transformers history and lore, and if you can, help support the show on Patreon.